Just today, Nature published a fascinating article that touches directly on questions at the intersection of physics and philosophy. Questions that frankly strike at the heart of how we understand reality itself. Now, Nature is one of the most respected scientific journals in the world, and when it speaks, we would do well to listen. But as I read this piece, I couldn't help but reflect on the deeper metaphysical assumptions that seem to underlie its discussions. And that raises a question I want to explore with you today. Are we really just physical systems governed by the laws of physics? Or does the human mind point beyond the material to something more? Something extraordinary just happened in the world of quantum physics, and it wasn't a new particle discovery or a breakthrough experiment. It was a survey, a simple set of questions posed to physicists, and the answers are blowing open long-closed philosophical doors. Today, I'm going to look at how this new data reveals just how divided physicists still are about the nature of reality and why it may give new life to substance dualism, the idea that the mind and matter are distinct and irreducible. Physicists from around the world were asked what they think quantum mechanics actually means. And, you'd think by now, after a century after the theory was born, there'd be consensus, right? Well, unfortunately, no. 36% of the respondents favored the Copenhagen interpretation, where quantum systems collapse into a definite state only when observed. 17% chose epistemic or information-based interpretations, which view the quantum state not as an actual description of reality, but as a representation of an observer's knowledge about a system. 15% lean towards Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation, where all possible outcomes actually happen in parallel universes. 7% chose the de Broglie-Bohm pilot wave theory, which includes hidden variables that guide particles along deterministic paths. And the rest, a spread of exotic views. But here's the headline. No single interpretation even gets close to majority support. This certainly isn't just a quirky feature of the field. It's a deep philosophical problem. These interpretations aren't just technical differences. They reflect radically different views of reality itself. Some see the wave function as describing real physical stuff. Others see it as merely a tool for calculating probabilities. And still others suggest that consciousness itself plays a role in determining what's real. To me, this is just fascinating stuff. Because so many interpretations leave room for non-physical influences or deny physics gives a complete account of reality, I don't think we can rule out substance dualism. It still offers a coherent account of mind and consciousness. Substance dualism being the philosophical view that the mind and the body are distinct substances, which resonates intriguingly with the Copenhagen interpretation, which implies that an observer somehow collapses the wave function. But, what is an observer? Is it a physical system or a conscious mind? Wigner's interpretation goes further, suggesting consciousness is fundamental to collapse. Even many worlds which avoids collapse forces us to accept an infinite multiverse just to preserve a mind-independent reality. But that's no less metaphysically loaded than dualism. The point is, if many of our best physical theories are still open to interpretations that imply the mind plays a fundamental role, then perhaps the old materialist assumptions need rethinking. Dualism has often been dismissed as unscientific, but this survey shows that science itself hasn't closed the case. So where does this leave us? The Nature Survey reveals that the scientific community doesn't have a settled picture of what quantum theory says about the world. And in that space of uncertainty, there's conceptual room for ideas that go beyond pure materialism. That doesn't mean dualism is proven, far from it. But it does mean we should stop pretending the case is closed. If our leading physicists are still puzzling over what's real, maybe it's time for philosophers and all of us to re-enter the conversation. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos exploring where science and philosophy meet, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Do you think the mind is more than matter? I'd love to hear what you think.